I love the haters and the losers because there's a lot of them and they give me a lot of attention. In particular, they seem to be under the delusion that I am constantly posting my videos to LGBT. I get these threads sent to me and they are filled with people saying again and again and again, Osaka, please stop posting your videos here. You're not wanted here. Fuck off. And it's been happening for months, and whoever keeps posting them there continues to do so despite the constant onslaught of reply guys who are hell bent on scaring whoever this person is off by saying these vaguely offensive things that 4chan is known for having on its website. Like, telling someone to fuck off a million times has never worked in the entire history of 4chan. You could ban this person, but I'm pretty sure another person's IP address would just spring up because there seem to be multiple people posting my videos throughout the board. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the haters and the losers because as I started this video out, there's a lot of them. And it's an interesting thing to me how my channel has garnered the attention of so many people like this, because there was a long time ago, like 4 years ago, I'm talking 2019, I dabbled with this in 2018 as well, or in 2020, where I was actively trying to put as many pleb filters on my content as possible, so much so that I would tell like every newcomer to fuck off, basically, like get off my channel, unsubscribe. And I had a whole series called Unsubscribe. It's actually featured proudly on the front of my channel. And the goal of the schizo titles and thumbnails, the goal of telling people to unsub, the goal of being in a dark room and sometimes having pretty bad audio, the goal of not always having the best recording quality is all the same. All of these things are done with the same goal in mind, and that is to serve as a gate, a big old gate that keeps certain people out, undesirable people, people who I have no interest in relating to, no interest in speaking to, and no interest in reaching, primarily because every time I have attempted to do so, I have been met with unreasonable insults and criticism and not a constructive discussion. Those are not the types of people that I want on my channel. The types of people that I want on my channel are the people who are willing to have constructive conversations, whether they agree or disagree with me, whether they want to call me a faggot or not, whether or not they think I'm repulsive or not. I don't care what your opinion of me is, but it has to be based on something. You have to be able to substantiate your claims. And what I see all too often in these LGBT threads is precisely what I've been attempting to avoid throughout my channel's history, which is a barrage of statements from people that are not substantiated, that are not based on anything. I get called a repressor by these people, not based on anything whatsoever. If you listen to my statements as well as the statements of others who have known me for years, many of which are public, that becomes not the case. It becomes abundantly clear that that's not the case. And even if you listen to all that information and listen to it in good faith and come away from all of that still disagreeing, then substantiate your claim. Look at the evidence and give your reasoning as to why you think that's the case. Because the internet is real life now. Like, people online are people. You know, there was a time on the internet when it was the Wild West and you could say whatever you wanted and it had no consequences whatsoever. It didn't do anything to anybody. That era of the internet is dead now. But there are certain people out there who would like to keep it alive, and those are the people that I do not want on my channel. Because what I am attempting to cultivate with this channel and in my community is a sense of empathy. I share my story not just to be understood by others, but in order to create an avenue by which people can understand themselves. And by understanding themselves, they can partake in conversations with me as well as with others on all kinds of different issues, many of them personal, and have a dialogue, have a back and forth, and hopefully the people on this channel who watch these videos can improve from that. Maybe they feel inspired by the things that I say. Maybe they feel inspired by themselves because I inspired them to think. And then by thinking for themselves, they manage to get into a at least marginally better place. The goal here is positivity. The goal here is to recognize in each and all of us, me, you, everybody watching these videos, our shared humanity. It is to recognize our shared humanity. And you're going to have a hard time recognizing one another's shared humanity when you're just spouting off unsubstantiated nonsense with the explicit goal of hurting other people's feelings, of making other people's days worse. You know, I don't want to make someone's day worse. I'm not out to make someone feel sad. I'm out to make someone's day better, to inspire folks to introspect and discuss these things amongst themselves. I want to share my journey with y'all, but not only for the sake of itself, but also because if you're able to see yourself in me, hopefully that makes you feel less alone. And hopefully that inspires you to do something to materially change your situation as it is. It's a we're all gonna make it type vibe. That's what I want to cultivate here. But the haters and the losers who hide behind anonymous boards do not want to do that. In fact, they want to do the exact opposite of that. Their goal is to hate on each other, to spread negativity, and to make one another, little by little, more depressed, more sad, more miserable. And so you take one look at these spaces and it's nothing but misery. It's nothing but negativity. And that is antithetical to what I try to do on this channel. What I try to do on this channel is, when things are negative, tell it like it is, but to do so with the understanding that things will get better. And that, you know, today might not look so great, but to aspire to a better tomorrow is something that's always worth doing. And that's the kind of positive sentiment that I want to spread throughout the world, especially to people who are particularly emotionally vulnerable, you know, marginalized people, you know, people from the LGBT community, people who are downtrodden neets, autistic guys, lonely men who feel like they don't have a place in the world at all. You know, I think one of the biggest risks today is the problems of lonely and especially autistic men not being taken seriously, not being given a voice to, when all these other people feel like when they feel like all these other people are given a voice through these other avenues. I want to give a voice to everybody. You know, I want to be someone who, no matter if you're black or white or straight or gay or trans or cis or male or female or whatever, I want to be somebody that you can listen to and feel understood by, or feel like understands you. Because I made that video, Universal Love, and it was a winding diatribe about a lot of things. One of the main points that I made was, you should tell your friends that you love them more, and that should be spread around. But part of why I made that video is it's in part due to a fascination, a fixation, if you will, that I've had on with understanding in general. I've been fixated on this concept of understanding for a long time, and it's partially because I think understanding is love. That our capacity to understand one another is one and the same with our capacity to love one another. And that the closer we are to understanding with other people, the closer we are to loving other people. And if love is an action, then understanding is also an action. We can say lots of fancy words about this subject, but those words don't mean anything if they're not backed up by behavior. And cultivating behavior that is endowed with love and understanding and consistency, that's something that I aspire to in myself, and that I try to cultivate in myself and train in myself. But crucially, it's something that I want to inspire others to do, or at the very least think about. If I can get you to at least think about that, I've made a great stride. I've done a great thing. Bless you. And so that's what I'm trying to do here. So when I put out those pleb filters, when I gatekeep and say unsubscribe, get the hell off my channel, when I make videos that are low fidelity, that are not particularly well edited, when I just ramble into a camera, all of this is meant to separate the wheat from the chaff. There are certain people who have a lot of negativity out there who aren't going to stand for content that isn't shallow on many levels. But the people who do stick around and are willing to listen to the message, as garbled as it may be through the various means of obfuscation that I employ, lo-fi cameras and all that type of stuff, the people who are actually willing to listen to the message through all of that, I feel as though, and pretty confidently at that, they are much more likely to understand the message that's being communicated, even if they don't fully understand it. They're going to try. And that genuine attempt at understanding, that's what counts. But there are so many parts of the internet that want to do the exact opposite of that. Their goal is not mass humanization of others. Their goal is the mass dehumanization of others. And that is a thing that is very, very dangerous in the world today. Because we've got a lot of people who are being bullied for their hair, for their genetics, for the place that they were born, for their religion, for who they love, for the way that they choose to present their gender, for the anime that they like, or the weird autistic hobbies that they have. And that's wrong. Those people simply have a difference of opinion, and yet you take it upon yourself to dehumanize them just for those minor differences. They didn't do anything to you. They didn't do anything to anyone. They just exist. Their existence is non-negotiable. And I think the way that we heal this divide in our society today is by talking to each other. If we're able to talk to each other in a way that is thoughtful, by first empathizing with ourselves, we can in turn empathize with others, the person on the other end of the conversation. But it starts with empathizing with yourself. It starts with a process of humanizing yourself before you can begin to humanize the other person. And that personal journey is not one that many of these internet people who are so hell-bent on dehumanizing the first person that they see, that's not a personal journey that they've been on or began going on. For some of them, I don't even think they want to go on that personal journey. But it's a crucial one nonetheless. And ultimately, you cannot persuade these people. You cannot help them, not as one person. But you can lead by example. You know, there was that phrase that was memed about during the 2016 election. People still make fun of it to this day. That phrase that liberals would use, when they go low, we go high. There's a lot of baggage that comes with that phrase. I'm not using it in a political sense, but if we're to take all that baggage away, you know, don't think about it in a political sense. Think about it in an ethical one. And just say, when they go low, we go high. It sounds pretty good, right? It sounds good because what is being expressed by that phrase is lead by example. If people out there are doing things that are wrong, that you disagree with morally, you can't stoop to their level and suddenly act like them. You have to do the right thing. And so the temptation may be there to renege on your principles and do the wrong thing, just because there's a lot of people out there without principles who are doing the wrong thing. But you have to stay steadfast in your principles and do the right thing. No matter how tempting it may seem to be to fall off the beaten path, you gotta stay right on it, full speed ahead. And that's what I want to do. Those are my aspirations, and that kind of positivity is something that I try to instill with this YouTube channel. And it starts with being kind to myself and being kind to others, with humanizing myself and with humanizing others, with empathizing with myself and with empathizing with others. And maybe, just maybe, that can provide food for thought for others and, in turn, lead to changes in the behavior of those people. That's the goal. And even if that goal isn't met, I'm still happy at the end of the day because I know that there's some people out there who feel less alone.